Hello and welcome back to a day 4 recap in the Apple River case. To be honest, day 4 was quite boring. It was a lot of body worn cameras showing people running in water, a little bit where they showed the victims. Most of it was just police officers or trying to get stuff on the record. So this will probably be a little bit of a shorter video, he says, and then he started talking for hours. The first person on the stand was Duxbury. She came off as the most genuine witness so far because she admitted she was drinking, she was sleeping when everything started. Uh, Riley was the one who told her, let's go. She never heard Q talk about go over there and break it up. They just wanted to go over there and de-escalate stuff. She didn't see any punches thrown at Madison. But Madison was yelling at him up in his face. She saw Dante hit him, but she saw Nick hit him back. And then she said, but after I watched the video, I know that isn't true. So she's the one person who hadn't changed the testimony because she saw the video showing what she thought she saw wasn't real. That's to me is a thing that makes her more believable. She also saw the girl getting stabbed and tried to help her. She was afraid she might be stabbed, so she walked away from him. But then she helped Tony with AJ. She saw both Madison and Riley touching Mew. So she admitted that Riley assaulted him before he did anything to her, and she tried to get Riley away from there. She said, we didn't know what was going on. We ran up there without any information and just put ourselves into it. They wanted to de-escalate it, but yeah, they didn't do a good job at that. And she admitted my sight was impaired because a lot of people were in front of me. She said the group 1 people were taunting him, and Maddie was all up in his face. She saw Maddie go down to a knee and Mew standing over her. We know from the video that isn't the case, but again, that's her memory, and she doesn't change it. She never saw Mew being aggressive, but she thought he looked demonic. And she didn't see AJ push him down. And Mr. Mew never touched her, and Madison to her wasn't a peacekeeper. She was a person who antagonized people. The next person on the stand was a nurse, Beldasso, who thought that she heard laughter, and then it turned into screaming. She ran over there, started helping out Isaac, but he wasn't breathing. She did chest compression. She don't know how long. She said it felt like 45 minutes, and she has no other involvement in any of it. And the defense asked her, did your husband carry a knife? And she said, yeah, because we use it for the tubing, just again to say there's a reason why Mew had a knife. And her husband lost her knife that day. And that's kind of all she had to say. Then we had a 911 operator talking about just that they received a 911 call that they hung up on because there was no information really given. There was a Spanish-speaking person. They have a later in the day they had a translator come in and say, "Yeah, I subscribed those 911 calls, and today, Friday, will be the day we have all the Spanish-speaking witnesses in there because they need an interpreter." And all of that was just to put it into the record that they have it so they can impeach them if they say something that's not aligning with the transcripts. We had Farrell from the EMTs. He saw multiple people injured, and he got in contact with a guy called Eric Williams, and yeah, he didn't really have anything to say other than he was told Mew was looking for a phone, and he find some stuff. He wasn't invited, wasn't really involved in anything. Then we had an officer Durant who was at the scene. There was a lot of confusion. Saw people look for the suspect in the woods. We have a video where he goes into the woods where people are going around yelling, "Yeah, we want to get this guy." Um, and he tells them to stop doing it because they'll ruin the crime scene. Um, he thought that the suspect had run into the woods. The next guy was an officer Sturmo. He didn't. He passes Madison on the way down to the river with his body cam on, where she's claiming she's been hit in the face. The defense asked him, "Did you see any injuries to her face?" And he says, "No, I didn't see anything." So, and was asked, "Would you normally have recorded it if you saw any injuries to him to her?" And he said yes. So. Because there's this story about Madison having pictures taken. There's another guy, the lead investigator, coming in saying we never found any pictures, even though she claims she had them on her phone. So yeah, that's that those pictures doesn't exist. Just to be fair, they haven't found them at least, and none of the police officers felt the need to photograph her face of the injuries. Then we had some rulings about body worn camera of the arrest because he's told you're being arrested for uh, unaliving and attempted unaliving, and he says okay, and they want to use that to impeach, saying when he later at the police station says I don't know what's happening. Well, he was told at the scene, but again, does he know what he's saying okay to? Do he understand it? That's hard to say. The judge ruled against it. We had the arresting officers who saw some markings on his hand that they took photos of, and they were asked by the defense, could it be from falling over in the river? And he said, yes, I've seen that before. Then we had investigator Sheppy, who found a knife, took some photos of it, and the knife was just lying on the bank of the river. He interviewed Madison, tried to find all of the pictures of her injuries, but she had deleted it, and he didn't ask why she deleted it. They did a full download of her phones and found no evidence uh, of an injury. Then we had a guy called Coleman come in and talk about he did a digital recording of the scene. It took forever, and it was just a lot of pictures. The only thing you really could use from his testimony was that from the initial contact to the second contact, those were 62 feet apart. So he had moved away from the initial spot. He didn't stay, as some of the witnesses said, stood with the guys at their tubes and hold on to them. And that's kind of, yeah. And then it had a measurement of how deep the river was, but that was a month after, so you can't really use that as evidence. Um, and he was really, it was a weird testimony. He got really angry at the defense. De la Cruz was a guy who talked to Spanish witnesses. Um, we had Deputy Thomas, who walked by Mr. Mew and thought he looked out of. He looked weird because he had a long sleeve on, but we've seen the pictures. He wore a long sleeve that day earlier in the day too, and he was arrested and told him he was arrested for the unaliving. Um, he complied. He didn't do anything, and he put him in a car where he just said there was nothing. He never. All the police officers who was in close contact said he didn't seem intoxicated. We don't think he was intoxicated. They talked a lot about um, how much police was at the scene, and they had a helicopter. It didn't really have anything to do with the case. Um, and and again, the thing you really can get from all of this was none of the police officers thought he was intoxicated. There was one thing that I think wasn't that great from you yesterday, and this is the video.
Still doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's going
Temperature's okay in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody,
All right.
I hear somebody got stabbed, and I fit the description.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Yep. So we're working through that now.
Judge, it's
That whole, someone got stabulated and I fit the description. To me, is it because it's in shock? Is it because he's trying to hide it? I don't know. But I think in front of a jury, that doesn't come off well. We know he tells a different story when he's interviewed. I don't know if we're going to see the interview or we're just going to hear about it. But he claims he saw knives in the hands of the kids and stuff like that. So I think that's a problem for the defense. That video, they tried to get ahead of it, but I don't think they really succeeded in that. But to be honest, this was one of those very boring court dates that was just about technical stuff, not much in it. So let's hope Friday picks up. And thank you for watching. Hope you'll be there. And I hope it's going to be more interesting than it was yesterday, because yesterday was a ball fest.